my beauties, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a first impressions review. I haven't done this in a very long time, but I did receive through one of my Sephora purchases a sample of the Makeup Forever Ultra HD foundation. And now y'all know that I love, and I just posted on my YouTube last week that my holy grail is the Makeup Forever foundation stick, but I wanted to give this a shot since I fell in love with the stick option. I wanted to see what the liquid foundation formula was like, and also I received 2 samples of the concealer, which I've been meaning to try. I don't know why. If my holy grail, you all know, is my NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. So anyways, I've already prepped my face. I have put on my moisturizer, and for my primer I have used, where are you? I'm using my Marc Jacobs Invisible Coconut Hydrating Primer, drugstore option. You all know that I love my Maybelline Master Prime. That's the one with SPF, but today I'm not really going to go out, so I went with my coconut primer. And these are the samples right here. I know I wore the concealer yesterday because I was really wanting to try it out. This is what the samples look like. They did send in the foundation Y325 and Y335. I'm going to go with 335 because in the stick I'm 365. So I'm not sure this is going to be an exact match for my skin, but it doesn't matter. I want to see how it wears throughout the day, and I will be checking in at the end of the day with you to let you know how it wore with this primer. And then in the concealer I did get the corrector R30, which I did not try yesterday, but then I got the concealer Y33, and that's the one that I'm going to use. Now, I wish I had the actual product to tell you how much. I know that the foundation does cost $44 in Sephora, and the concealers run about $28, $29 if I'm not mistaken. And the reason why I put it on with my primer was because if I am going to wear it during the day, it's definitely going to be with a primer. And so I went with my coconut primer, and maybe I can give you guys an update on another day how it wore with my Maybelline Master Primer, because primers are different and our skins are different. Anyways, let's get started. I am going to be using a damp beauty blender on half of my face, and the other half I'm going to be using my IT Cosmetics airbrush blurring foundation brush number 101, which is right here. So I'm going to zoom in, and we're going to get started. I do have my freckles a little bit. I've got, I don't know how this came out. Actually, I do know, but I'm not going to talk about it yet because I'm still testing out that other foundation. I do have to say that my first impression off of this, it is a very light coverage. It looks very skin-like. It did cover, you know how I have these dark areas right here? It did cover those corners of my mouth. Definitely a sheer foundation. And I've applied a good amount on just half my face, and I can still see my skin. Beautiful though. It did a very good job in covering that blemish that I have there. And it came out pretty. See that? It's very liquidy. So we're going to add it to the other side. This color actually matches me pretty well. As you can see, as you can tell, you can still see my freckles coming through. And let me look a little bit more close up. It looks a little bit more coverage on this side than on my left. But I think my preferred way of applying it is going to have to be with the beauty blender, because I can see it smearing. The side with my beauty blender didn't really sink into my pores, but on this side it did. So method to apply this will be for me the beauty blender. The foundation stick has more coverage than this. I'm going to see how much I can build this up. Okay, I went in there with another good layer, and definitely buildable, and it doesn't look cakey, which is great. Definitely has a little bit of a dewy finish to it, so make sure if you are oily you use a setting powder with this. And now for the second part of this first impressions is going to be the concealer. The concealer is a little bit more thick than the foundation, obviously, because of the coverage. So I'm going to grab a small little brush, whatever brush you have that's just small. I'm going to pick some up, put it in the back of my hand, get it to warm up a little bit. Definitely very creamy. Okay, now we're gonna warm that up with our finger and then go in with the beauty blender. So there is one layer of the concealer. It did a great job. I feel it's very light. It's not as thick. It almost does have almost the same consistency as the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer, but not quite. Now this one has a little pink undertone, but it didn't, like, maybe because it's not the right color for me, but as far as coverage, I like the consistency. I think that if I get the correct color for me, it will do a better job at concealing. I'm gonna go in with one more layer. Definitely very sheer. If you do have under eye fine lines, I think this is going to be great. It feels very moisturizing. It doesn't feel like it's going to cake up under the eyes, but I don't know yet. I haven't set it and I haven't worn it throughout the day. Well, yesterday I did. So I already have my opinion about that, but I will let you know at the end of this video what I thought at the end of the day. Hey beauties, let me just finish the rest of my makeup and I will be back and check in with you. All right, my loves, so I already finished my makeup and so far, I'm really enjoying this foundation because of how sheer it is. I remember the old formula used to be a lot more thick and I didn't like the way it sat on my face. It would really start to like settle into my fine lines, which this one I can see it settling into my fine lines. Do you see that? How it's settling into there, excuse the nose. Also, I'm surprised that although I'm having a dry patch in the center of my forehead right now, it's not clinging onto it. At least I didn't see it, which is nice. Now, I did set my under eye with the Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Powder. I did set the rest of my face with the Laura Mercier Matte Translucent Powder. And it didn't feel, it felt just slightly sticky, and now with the very small amount of powder that I put on my face, it feels great. Let me see my under eyes. Guys, I think I may have found my next holy grail concealer. I have tried a bunch of other concealers, but this does not look cakey. It doesn't settle into my, I mean, it's settling into my fine lines. We have them, I have them, but that's why I use an under eye primer. And y'all know my holy grail is the e.l.f. Hydrating Under Eye Primer that's only $3 from the drugstore. But I mean, it's not giving me a cakey look at all. Now this color does not match me well, so I will have to go get the a different color if I decide to buy it. I'll check in with you guys at the end of the day and let you know how this wears and my final thoughts on this foundation and this concealer. I will see y'all in a little bit. Toodles! So I am checking in for the evening on the foundation. I've had it on since around noon. It's going to be 8 o'clock, and I'm going to go ahead and zoom in so y'all can see what I'm looking like. Keep in mind that I did wear a primer, so it's settling into those fine lines. It definitely makes me look very greasy. It's worn off, and I just ate pizza, so it feels very greasy on my skin, and I felt it greasy about an hour or two ago. Oh, I shouldn't say greasy. I felt it very shiny, and I just didn't want to block because I wanted to show you all how it held up. It really settled into this area right here, even with a powder, and this sort of tore off on that little blemish I have there. I ended up having to take off my eyelashes because they were really making my eyes itch. And what are my final thoughts on this? My final thoughts on the foundation is If you have dry to normal skin, I definitely think that you can get away with this. If you have combo or oily skin, and if you really want to wear this, and I suggest you you put a finishing powder and that you keep touching up during the day because the oil will seep through. But it's definitely not something that I would be interested in purchasing, that's for sure. I'm going to stick to their stick foundation. Their concealer, let's zoom in. The concealer I really liked. I apologize for my eye boogies. The concealer I really liked because for some reason, because this is not my color, it's not concealing very well, but I think once I get the correct color, it's going to work for me, and I'm going to go ahead and give it a try. I'm going to go ahead and purchase it because I am a very big concealer person. I did set this with my La Mercier Secret Brightening Primer powder, and that is definitely going to be a purchase for me. I'm excited about that because I love my NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer, and although they do cost the same, I'm looking forward to finding a different and another high-end concealer that works for me. If it's worked for you, and if you've been using it and you have any suggestions or comments on what you've been doing and how it's been working for you, then go ahead and leave it down for me in the comment sections. Okay, all right, ladies, thank you so much for tuning in and staying with me till the end of the day. I'll talk to you guys later. Toodles!